Alright, so this is a Techno Pop 4, the one which we built a battery for. So just in case you thought internal batteries cannot be dealt with, this is a testimony. And so today it is here because it has a challenge that it does not transfer data, and that's what we want to get to the bottom of. So that means we are going to look at the data lines at the charging port and try to retrace where they end up. So just in case you're new here, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. So this means we have to take this apart, and as a part of taking apart, we're going to be interested in the lower subboard. So all right, let's walk the journey together. So this back is removable right there, and then we are interested in this lower segment. We are interested in the subboard, and that's the concept of today's video. That said, we need to take this phone apart, but while we do that, I'm going to also take this point to plug in my soldering gun, such that by the time we reach the point that we need to start soldering, it's very ready to receive that. Soldering flux ready, and soldering wire ready. And now I think we can proceed. I think this serves no purpose staying in frame, so let's put it aside. And as such, okay, I wanted to remove the SIM card trays, but we're going to deal with the lower subboard and then proceed anyway. Okay, let's dive right in, and that means opening these screws. And I had to first bid farewell to the owner. I don't want them feeling nervous in the midst of me working here, but I have no problem him observing me do my thing. At times it helps create a bond of trust between you and them, except for the occasional nervousness because you are not at liberty to work free of charge. You feel there's a prying eye and something that should seem normal, you now have to worry that the client might be worried, such things as clicking sounds and all that. But that said, let's proceed. I think, do I really need to open the entire back metallic plate? I guess I have no choice but to do just that and pick this out. Having done that, we need to take this apart to expose the place that we are going to be working, and that is this. So disconnect that. There's a fiber to the lower board, and then this should come out. At this point, I'm going to detach the vibrator, although I don't have the energy of re-gluing it after I've dealt with the pods. So move this to the side and then come here. Now that we've done that, I'm going to clear that up right there. Also want to deal with those two terminals, so I'm going to have to first remove the port out of socket so as to allow us be able to work with it. Okay, and now that means we have to solicit the services of our hot air gun. Let me get it ready. So airflow of the gun has been put to 6, and that's 6 out of 8, and then the temperature is set to 350. So we'll bring this from up down, point it at this. Remember, we lift the board slightly up so it falls under its weight. Immediately the solder melts. And now that that is done, this is the point where we take you through observation as to why this thing will not transmit data. So you can see that from somewhere here, if you look carefully, you'll notice that we have the extreme pads. Those are the ones for power supply, and positive and negative. This being the negative, and that's the positive. Now in between there are three. Now this is for data, then that is for the other data line, but this pad is ripped off, so we have to loop from the charging port's terminal directly to a point somewhere around here, and that should help us with that data stuff because one of the lines are actually intact. So let me just try to take advantage of the pin through area, because that seems to provide enough area. So I'm going to scrape it such that I can use it to loop power, so to loop the cable that I have to connect up to that point. So I'm preparing it by scraping it so that I can apply a solder point right there. I think I don't know whether that's polished enough. That done, I will apply some flux there, and then let me put it down here. I don't know whether you're still able to see, but let me bring my soldering wire and put the fresh solder pad at that point there where I have just okay, I think it is there. My soldering gun is a bit too hot for its own good right now, and let me reduce that a bit, but I think it's okay. I'm just going to clean that part and then we proceed on. So for now, let me zoom out again, and I'm just going to clean that off to make that a bit more visible. Now next thing is on our charging port right there, that is corresponding to, let's see, when we count from this end, zoom in again, when we count from this end, that is 1, 2, 3. So the third terminal here is the one we need looping to. The other one seems to be quite self-sufficient. Okay, so let me just clear that and find a way of connecting a solder point, sorry, a looping wire onto the solder pads of the port. So I'm going to take advantage of this earphone wire, one of the strands inside, and I'm going to split it so that I can get a few strands that are not too thick but also not too small. So let me just twist them over each other. This is going to provide for me my looping wire right there, and I'm going to only loop one terminal, the other is free to stay. Now I need to expose some of the insulation of the wire so that the insulation on it is exposed. I think you can see that. That is looking really good. And on the other end, something like that, so that burns off some of the coating and then put solder. And we are going to use that length as the looping piece of wire. So let me just trim a tiny amount off of it. I'm wondering whether I should do for both terminals that do the data, but I'm not going to go all that length for that. Let me just do for the pad that is missing. Now, having done that, next thing is to try to attach this wire to our ports pad, which we established to be the third from this end. Okay, let me try to zoom out a little. Okay, I think that will be visible enough. Now the step is a bit nerve-wracking because we are doing very tiny solders. I need to pick this and apply some flux to its ends to allow for me to be able to solder it to the terminal of this port. Now I need to hold this, but how do I do that? I think let me bring my pliers. Hope they will do me some justice. And from this third, that means it's basically the middle pin, the center pin. So that is held up, and I'm going to use this end. There's flux there. Okay, I think it has held, and we can now proceed to attempt to fix the entire port. Okay, we have that coming off of there. Now we're going to unblock these holes by blowing pulse of air through them. Okay, so now you can see that these are hollow, and this can freely now sit in right there, and we need to partially solder those terminals that this thing sits flush before we attempt to solder the other. So we had reached the point where I'm done with looping that terminal, and you can see how it is looking. The camera kept on going off, so you'll bear with me, but then it has come all the way here. Now we put it back into the phone, and then we shall test it for data transfer abilities. But let me solder back our vibrator terminals, and that's me moving by faith that this is fine. Okay, and now next thing is I'm going to, the only adjustment I have made since the camera shut down is the fact that I've decided to put tape over this to prevent that contact from shorting to ground, and put this down, plug that in, and then we get our USB, plug this in. We are going to plug it to a laptop and then see whether it does transfer data. So let me go plug it to a laptop and come back to confirm. So I'm going to plug into the laptop, and okay, I can hear it being detected. So anyway, and that's that. Hit the subscribe button, share, and like. See you in the next video.